Welcome to Operations and Supply Chain University. I'm Jerry Wright. This is Ops University Lean Six Sigma Green Belt Certification course, lesson number 16, Theory of Constraints, or TOC. So Theory of Constraints, TOC as it's often referred to, or bottleneck analysis as it is sometimes called, is about understanding which process in a system is the limiting factor or constraint, or which person in a group is the limiting factor or constraint. It can be either. Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt conceived of the theory in his worldwide multi-million selling book, The Goal. The Goal book has been made into a movie that is about, I think, 45, 46 minutes long, and it tells the tale of Unico's plant manager, Alex Rogo, and his tutelage by his past course professor, Jonah, on the theory of constraints in a parable or story type format. The Goal video is considered one of the most popular training videos of all time, with tens of millions of views since its release in the 1980s. So this is the book here. You can see The Goal, Eliyahu M. Goldratt, and also written with Jeff Cox. Again, 10 million copies have been sold of the book, and even more views of the video have taken place. So here's a quick TOC simulation exercise you can do for yourself, or you can do with a team. Gather about 100 large paper clips and 4 dice. That's all you need to do this exercise. And let's walk through it real quick. So round one, ideally teams should be 3 to 4 people. Again, if you're by yourself, you can set up little squares and make stations, and you could do this on your own. But in this 3 to 4 person scenario, the first person rolls 1 die and determines the number of paper clips they can put into production from the big pile. Like, think of incoming orders from a customer. If they roll 2, then they move 2 paper clips to the second thing. If they roll 6, they move 6, and so forth. And then everybody waits. Now the second person rolls 2 dice to be able to determine the number of orders they can move through to the process. So if they got 2 paper clips in the beginning and then they rolled a 6, the score for that round is 0. The third person can't get anything. So then we go again. The first person rolls, maybe they move 5 paper clips. The second person rolls the 2 dice and they get a 2 and a 3. They got 5. Well, now they have 5 plus 2, that's 7. They can move all those to the third person. Then the third person rolls their 1 dice or 1 die, and then moves those to the end. And that's how many you got through in that round. So the first round was 0. The second round, maybe it was 2 or 3. And you keep repeating this. You have 3 minutes to do this, and you try to see how many paper clips you can move through this in the exercise. So go as fast as you can. Now, typically in this first round, people get 20, 25, 30, sometimes 40 paper clips through in that time frame. Now we're going to change. We're going to move where the 2 dice is. We're going to go round to the first person rolls 2 dice to determine the number of paper clips put into production. Think of those as incoming orders. Then the second person rolls, and the third person, and so forth. And we measure the paper clips. Then the question is, okay, did you do better with 2 dice at the beginning, or did you do worse? What was the case? Now, because we're rolling dice, they're highly variable. We can get a 1 or we can get a 6. That's a big difference on each roll. So the question is, where is the bottleneck, or where's the constraint? Most people find that the 2 dice, depending on who's rolling, is the area that's a constraint, and you typically want that at the beginning. You want that at the beginning so everything downstream can handle whatever the constraint can produce. Okay? Now, there's different types of constraints. There's actual or physical constraints, like maybe the number of people you need to work in a process, maybe machine processing time. What if you don't have any materials or orders? That can be a physical or an actual constraint. You can also have non-physical constraints. You can have policies, procedures, certain measurements or specifications. Maybe you have a person with a personal control issue, or maybe you don't have enough sales or marketing orders. Those are non-physical constraints. We need to figure out what the constraints are and figure out how to work through those or break them. So the 5 steps of TOC from Dr. Goldratt is this. 1, identify the constraint. What is it? You need to know what it is. Decide how to exploit the constraint. Basically, take advantage of it. How can you maximize the output of the constraint? Then subordinate all else to the constraint. And the example with that is don't run a machine full speed if makes extra work in process and the constraint can't use it, it doesn't make any sense. Make sure everything is marching to the drum beat or the pace of the constraint in your system. Otherwise, if someone goes faster, they'll just keep waiting longer. Then next, try to elevate the constraint. Is there a way to eliminate the constraint being a limit or a bottleneck? Is there a way to elevate it? And then at some point, if you can break the constraint, go back to step one and start all over. Maybe the constraint has moved. Constraints can move. It is realistic. So this is ongoing improvement. The theory of constraints is really a continuous improvement thing. We find one constraint, we eliminate it. We find the next constraint, we eliminate it or maximize it. And we just keep going until we've eliminated all the constraints. Now, the main rules of TOC is you want to balance flow, not capacity. We need to be able to flow things through our process. The constraint or the bottleneck paces the entire process or the system. An hour lost at the bottleneck is an hour lost to the entire process or the entire system. And an hour saved at a non-bottleneck is not really real. It doesn't do anything for you. It's what they call a mirage. It's not real. The only way, and this is a very, very important point, the only way to have excess inventory, work in process or finished goods, is to have excess capacity. If you have excess inventory, you have plenty of capacity. You're just not using it properly. It's critical to look at the processor system as a whole, not as independent processes. The example that they discuss in the video and in the book is that if all of your parts move through the machinery on an average of 10 parts per hour, how many can your whole plant produce? And the logic is, well, 10 parts an hour. No, it can never produce that. And that's because some machines can only produce 8 parts in an hour and others can produce 11 or 12. It's always going to be out of balance. You have to measure the system as a whole. When they're connected, they're basically in series or in combination. They will never work that way. The other thing to note is the constraint or the bottleneck can and will move. You have to anticipate it's going to move and rebalance your line and rebalance your system. So again, the recommended reading on this, The Goal, fantastic book. If you can get the movie version, which is out there, you have to pay for it. It is a great 46-minute video that gives you the essence of the book in a short period of time. And I've purchased the goal video in the past and shown it to my classes, but I'm unable to show it to you online because it is copyright protected. There is a third edition now of The Goal, which is a updated version, and that was probably a really good one. I have not read it. I read the original one many, many years ago and have watched the movie so much I can almost repeat it. But again, great references. Strongly recommend you read these if you can get a hold of them. They're a great resource. And theory of constraints is something that people think they know, but you really need to understand it completely to take advantage of it and have it work for you. That's it for this lesson. Thank you.